Oh gosh.
It all begins with a breathtaking moment in the wild as a photographer freezes in place when a curious cheetah walks right up and starts licking his face. Not every unexpected visitor is a predator though. One man is left stunned when a group of wild goats casually wanders into his garage and makes themselves at home.
What's up, buddy? Want some coffee, bud?
What's up, baby? You want some coffee too?
But out on open water, the stakes are much higher as a fisherman in a kayak suddenly finds himself face to face with a massive great white shark.
Great white!
Meanwhile, one hiker learns a terrifying lesson when he attempts to run from an aggressive bear encounter. And speaking of bears, another man captures a nerve-wracking close encounter as a massive wild bear gets far closer than anyone would like. Back in the African wilderness, a surprisingly affectionate cheetah approaches a photographer looking for something few would expect, a friendly head scratch. Then comes a scene straight out of a postcard as kangaroos and colorful wild birds gather outside a hotel room door in Australia waiting for a visit.
Hello.
Not all wildlife encounters happen on land either. One diver receives an unforgettable greeting when a giant Napoleon wrasse swims over and plants a kiss on his face. But some animals have a much feistier attitude as a tiny river otter boldly charges toward a person despite being vastly outsized.
Oh shit! Oh shit! He's right there! Hey, get the paddle! Get the paddle! Get the hey! Oh! Hey, that's alright! Get the paddle! Hey!
Out on a safari, a wildlife photographer suddenly realizes he's no longer observing from a distance when a rhino decides to come in for a much closer look. And for one camper, bedtime takes a tense turn after a curious bear appears outside the tent and begins staring directly at the person inside. As if that wasn't intimidating enough, another photographer finds himself holding his breath while a massive polar bear approaches within just a few feet. Elsewhere, rescuers work to free a trapped cheetah, but the situation nearly takes a dramatic turn when the big cat suddenly closes the distance.
Baby.
Good work, baby.
Not every chaotic encounter involves wild animals, however, as two runaway cows burst into a store and leave a trail of destruction behind them. Then comes an incredible moment at sea when a giant mother whale appears to seek help from nearby humans after becoming entangled. Back on land, a hunter gets the surprise of a lifetime when an enormous moose casually walks up right to his blind. But perhaps even more unsettling is the sight of a massive snake appearing to follow a kayak through the water. Out in the ocean again, a group of people watch in awe as a powerful orca surfaces astonishingly close to their boat.
Yes.
Meanwhile, one man discovers that trying to reason with an angry bear isn't exactly an effective strategy. In a much gentler encounter, a photographer is welcomed into the presence of a gorilla family and even receives a few curious touches. And nearby, another photography team comes face to face with a towering mountain gorilla in a moment that's equally parts humbling and intimidating. Not all wildlife stays deep in the wilderness, as one homeowner discovers when a wild bear casually shows up outside the house for a visit.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Back in the water, routine feeding session suddenly becomes a lot more intense when a shark swims uncomfortably close to a woman. Then comes one of the ocean's most fascinating predators as a diver experiences an unforgettable close encounter with a curious leopard seal. Elsewhere, beachgoers quickly gather around after a nearly 10-foot mako shark unexpectedly washes ashore.
Oh my!
Back in the jungle, a giant gorilla calmly approaches a group of humans, blocking its path, making it clear who truly belongs there. And these pest controllers come across a gigantic Asian hornet's nest unlike anything they've ever seen. The wildlife surprises keep coming as beachgoers suddenly find themselves sharing the shoreline with one of the world's most formidable birds, a wild cassowary.
Oh my goodness. I feel uncomfortable.
A group of nature photographers gets a little more excitement than expected when a mother bear and her cubs wander directly into view.
Back up.
Elsewhere, one driver can't believe his eyes after spotting a giant anteater calmly standing in the middle of the road ahead. Then comes an adorable surprise as a wandering penguin suddenly appears right beside a group of children, leaving them completely speechless.
What have we found at the beach today, kids? Hello. Yeah, you're lost.
But back on the water, things get a lot more intense when a kayaker in New Zealand realizes an orca swimming dangerously close by. Not far away, tourists aboard a boat are treated to an unforgettable encounter after a curious whale decides to pay them a surprise visit.
Oh, amazing.
Back on land, a hiker rounds a corner and comes face to face with a stunning mountain goat perched along the trail. Meanwhile, a peaceful day at sea takes a tense turn when a massive great white shark suddenly appears alongside a boat. Not every encounter is frightening though, as a curious family of skunks approaches a cyclist while making some surprisingly adorable sounds. Deep in the jungle, a huge gorilla makes its feelings perfectly clear when it decides to splash water directly at an unwelcome human visitor. Back at sea, a playful sea lion seems fascinated by a kayaker and refuses to leave the boat's side. Then comes a gentle giant of the ocean as an enormous sea lion approaches fishermen, apparently hoping to score an easy snack. In a surprisingly wholesome moment, a tired camel decides the perfect pillow is a nearby human trying to get some rest. Meanwhile, one man somehow manages to achieve something few people would ever dare attempt, giving a wild bear a high five on the side of the road. Beneath the waves, a group of scuba divers is left in awe after encountering one of the ocean's rarest and most mysterious creatures, a living oarfish. Then comes an encounter that would make anyone grip the steering wheel tighter as a massive wild bison calmly walks right up to a parked vehicle in Canada.
Beast, bro.
Elsewhere, a motorcyclist gets the shock of his life when an aggressive deer suddenly charges in and starts attacking him out of nowhere.
Oh! Hello!
Far to the south in Antarctica, travelers witness a breathtaking close encounter with one of the ocean's most powerful predators, a killer whale. Meanwhile, an Arctic photographer receives a rare gift from nature when a pack of magnificent white wolves approaches within camera range. Back on the trail, hikers pause in amazement as a majestic mountain goat appears only a few steps away.
Don't get close to him.
Out in the cold waters off Norway, divers get a little closer than expected when a gigantic humpback whale glides directly past them.
Oh,
And for one paddleboarder, a normal day instantly becomes the experience of a lifetime after being surrounded by a pod of whales. In this, a wild bear gently wraps its arms around a woman in an unforgettable embrace. High above the ground, a paraglider gets an unexpected passenger when a curious black vulture glides alongside him before landing right on his body mid-flight. Beneath the waves, a diver is left completely speechless when a gigantic manta ray gracefully sweeps past just inches away. Not all wild predators keep their distance, as one wolf behaves more like an oversized puppy after forming an unlikely bond with a human.
My grumbly monster. I love you.
Elsewhere, a thirsty jackal approaches travelers in desperate need of help, leading to a heartwarming moment of compassion. Out on a scenic ride, a group of bikers suddenly finds themselves surrounded by a breathtaking herd of wild horses racing across the landscape. Then comes a visitor who clearly didn't understand personal space, as a wild otter casually climbs up into a kayak and settles in as if it belongs there. Meanwhile, one determined rescuer refuses to give up while working tirelessly to free a trapped wild sheep from a dangerous situation. Back on the trail, hikers suddenly realize they're not alone when a mountain lion appears nearby and calmly watches their every move. In the harsh desert heat, a group of hikers stops to help a dehydrated horned viper by offering it something it desperately needs: water. Then comes a truly nerve-wracking underwater encounter when an orca swims directly toward a man attempting to film it beneath the surface. Wild animal encounter is intimidating, however, as one friendly wild boar seems determined to get nothing more than a few belly rubs. Elsewhere, a fisherman gets quite the surprise after discovering a sneaky fox hiding inside his bag after helping itself to all the fish. As summer draws to a close, entire groups of wild horses make their annual appearance in nearby neighborhoods, casually grazing on front lawns. In another wholesome scene, one woman leaves fresh water outside for local wildlife, only to watch animals of all kinds stop by, and even bear cubs turn it into a playground. The encounters keep getting more wholesome as one man becomes the favorite stop for a group of wild jackrabbits eager for a snack. Back in the ocean, a diver realizes he's not swimming alone after a pod of curious orcas begins following alongside him. Meanwhile, a breathtaking underwater moment unfolds when a humpback whale glides astonishingly close to nearby people. But not every marine encounter feels quite so peaceful, as one diver suddenly finds himself sharing the water with a powerful tiger shark. Then comes another unforgettable dive when a curious leopard seal approaches for a remarkably close interaction. Meanwhile, a cameraman stands perfectly still as a wild bear approaches within arm's reach before ultimately deciding to move on. Back on the water, one kayaker unexpectedly gains a passenger when a friendly otter hops aboard without so much as an invitation. Then comes a scene straight out of a fairy tale as a beautiful wild forest cat appears quietly outside a hotel room door.
Кисун, привет! Ой, он скрипит. Жалко, не слышно, как он урчит за стеклом.
Meanwhile, a wildlife photographer receives the ultimate test of composure when a lion decides to play with him as if he were another member of the pride. Back in the mountains, a routine hike suddenly becomes unforgettable after a close encounter with a bear on the trail.
Oh gosh.
In another rescue effort, a man risks getting unusually close while helping a bear out of a difficult situation.
There you go.
Elsewhere, one homeowner gets quite the surprise after discovering a black bear casually wandering just outside the house. Meanwhile, a guided wildlife walk becomes far more exciting when a lion suddenly appears much closer than anyone expected. Back on the water, a kayaker gets an unexpected burst of adrenaline when a sea lion suddenly decides to give chase. Then comes a masterclass in staying calm as an unexpected guide carefully handles a tense encounter with a wild rhino. Deep in the wilderness, one person experiences the kind of moment most people only dream about, a rare face-to-face encounter with a wild wolf. In another simple act of kindness, a thirsty wild bird receives a helping hand when a man stops to offer it some water. But not every encounter stays peaceful, as one person finds themselves in the middle of an intense and unforgettable bear encounter. Elsewhere, zoo workers' bond with a lion looks almost unbelievable as the giant cat plays with him like an oversized house pet. And speaking of fearless interactions, one person casually pets a hyena, leaving viewers wondering how much trust is too much trust.
I missed you too.
Meanwhile, a trapped wild cat gets a second chance after a compassionate rescuer carefully sets it free.
You trying to take the duck with him?
This old boy is just not running.
Babe.
Just chill. Just chill.
Back at home, one snake owner finds himself completely surrounded when his massive pet decides it wants all of his attention at once.
Alright. Coming out.
Not all unlikely friendships happen between humans and pets, as one man sits down to share a watermelon with a wild monkey. Then comes a dramatic moment inside a gorilla enclosure when a male gorilla grabs a young girl's hair only for a female gorilla to step in immediately. Elsewhere, a massive silverback demonstrates exactly why he's the leader when he blocks traffic to safely escort his family across the road. Back at a quiet home, a bear appears ready to investigate further until it notices a fearless cat waiting on the staircase. And a playful little lamb spots a man resting in the grass and decides to join him for some fun. The surprise continues when a curious house cat comes face to face with a wild deer for what appears to be the very first time. Out at sea, a fisherman earns the respect of viewers everywhere after casually removing a fishing hook from a massive great white shark. Elsewhere, a zoo worker casually holds a baby white alligator as though it's the most normal thing in the world.
I do is I'll just go in, give her a little bit of it. I'll use the big side.
But not every animal appreciates being checked on, as one man quickly discovers when a snake he thought might have passed away suddenly opens its mouth and lunges.
Content to sit there.
Back in the wild, a towering giraffe gives someone an unforgettable close-up encounter that few people ever get to experience. Then comes a moment that's equal parts funny and terrifying as a bear and a man accidentally startle each other at the exact same time. Meanwhile, a charging cow looks ready to cause trouble until an unexpected slip completely changes the outcome. Not every chase ends so quickly though, as one angry horse seems determined to make a run for his life.
Hey, goni mnie.
Elsewhere, a remarkably clever monkey spots an opportunity and attempts to snatch a man's bag right out of his hands. And speaking of mischievous monkeys, one young girl suddenly finds herself being chased by a determined primate. Back on the farm, another person gets an unexpected cardio workout after a car decides to give chase. Beneath the waves, a diver receives an annual friendly welcome when an entire group of crabs gathers around as if to say hello. Back in a residential neighborhood, one man discovers an unexpected guest and somehow manages to trap an alligator inside a trash can.
Inside his neighbor's front door.
Somebody let me know the hand. Yeah.
Elsewhere, a group of kangaroos gathers by the ocean to enjoy a breathtaking sunset, creating a scene that hardly seems real. Then comes a sight that would stop traffic anywhere, as a lion is spotted casually strolling down a city street.
Mamma mia.
Meanwhile, a gang of determined raccoons attempts a late-night break-in before an alarm suddenly sends them running. Back inside a grocery store, two runaway cows leave absolute chaos in their wake after turning nearly every aisle upside down. In a quieter moment, a fox introduces its young babies while spending time on a homeowner's front lawn. Elsewhere, a hardworking beaver is spotted carrying carrots across the street as if it's completing a very important mission. Not everyone seems to be in a hurry, however, as a group of cows decides the middle of the road is the perfect place to relax. Back on the road, drivers are forced to slow down after encountering two lions calmly occupying the lane ahead. In another unlikely friendship, a fox makes a familiar visit to a human's home and is rewarded with a tasty meal of eggs. Meanwhile, a miniature horse captures everyone's attention while happily strolling through the streets. Back in the city center, a group of brave dogs springs into action and successfully drives away wolves that wandered too close to town. And a routine drive turns into an unforgettable wildlife encounter when a bear begins walking straight toward a nearby vehicle on the road. The unusual sightings keep coming as an entire group of massive eagles suddenly gathers in a parking lot, leaving drivers wondering who's really in charge. Meanwhile, the city visitors are treated to a rare sight when a fox casually strolls through a public park as if it owns the place.
Here comes the other one.
Elsewhere, panic spreads after an escaped circus lion is spotted roaming freely through city streets. Back in a parking area, drivers get an unforgettable surprise when a giant moose suddenly shows up among the parked cars. Then comes a much gentler visitor as a hungry red panda wanders into a garden looking for something good to eat. Not all gatherings are wild, however, as one Airbnb guest discovers an entire welcoming committee of cats waiting outside the door. Meanwhile, motorists slow down to watch a monkey-like animal carefully crossing the road ahead. Back in Africa, a majestic lion is spotted calmly making its way across a bridge in a scene straight out of a nature documentary. Elsewhere, residents can hardly believe their eyes when a bear wanders through busy city streets searching for its next destination.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass and I'm home.
Then comes another tense escape story as a tiger roams through urban streets after reportedly breaking free from a zoo.
Se puede acercar con uno. Los animales de hoy en día.
Meanwhile, drivers find themselves sharing the road with an entire pride of lions casually making their way down the highway. In a lighter moment, a stray dog unexpectedly joins a public protest and quickly becomes one of the event's most enthusiastic participants. Back on safari, an extraordinary sight unfolds as 6 fully grown male lions confidently walk down the middle of the road together. Elsewhere, a resourceful red panda is caught rummaging through a backyard trash bin in search of its next meal. Not every airport delay is caused by airplanes, as a stray cat will take over a greasy section of an airfield for a relaxing snack. Meanwhile, residents watch from a safe distance as a lioness confidently patrols the streets on her own. Then comes one of the cutest clips yet, as a red panda becomes completely fascinated with a red panda plush toy while relaxing in a bed. Back at the hotel, guests peek outside to discover a pack of snow wolves gathered just beyond their room.
What y'all doing?
Elsewhere, a man is forced to make a quick retreat into a shed after a massive bull moose unexpectedly appears in his backyard. And just when it seems the day couldn't get any more chaotic, a man being chased by a cow loses his footing and wipes out in dramatic fashion. And this miniature horse excitedly chases after its human friend, turning the field into its own playground.
Look, she's chasing me.
The wildlife invasions continue when a curious black bear casually strolls into a store, leaving shoppers wondering who the newest customer might be. Elsewhere, after floodwaters transform a neighborhood into a temporary river, residents watch in disbelief as a crocodile calmly glides down the middle of the street. Then comes a tiger, majestic and completely unfazed, walking calmly down a road as if it owns every inch of it. Not far away, a panther quietly approaches a man from behind, but instead of attacking, it delivers a surprisingly gentle and affectionate touch. And speaking of big cats, another tiger is spotted confidently wandering down a roadway, creating a scene few drivers will ever forget. Back on the road, a large snake silently crosses the pavement, causing everyone nearby to stop and give it plenty of room. And this man is forced to dive into his shed after a massive bull moose suddenly appears in his backyard.
That is crazy.
That's a big snake.
Yes, look, it's going up her car. It's in the tire. Oh! It's in the tire.
The close calls continue when one homeowner steps up to discover an enormous snake lurking just outside the house.
Go. She's a hissing.
Meanwhile, deep in the wilderness, a man experiences an astonishing level of trust after a wild cheetah curls up beside him for a nap. Elsewhere, a pregnant cheetah struggling with the heat searches for relief, and it unexpectedly chooses the roof of a safari vehicle as a perfect resting spot. Not all incredible animal encounters happen in the wild, though, as a remarkably intelligent gorilla begins copying a visitor's every move. Then comes a reptile so massive it hardly seems real, as footage captures what many describe as the largest snake ever seen on camera. Back on safari, a photographer is treated to a special moment when a curious baby elephant decides to investigate the camera crew. In another unforgettable encounter, a young elephant appears convinced that a man is in trouble and rushes into the river to help him. Meanwhile, a young chimpanzee tries its best to intimidate a visitor before the troop's leader calmly steps in to settle things down.
Oh.
Elsewhere, one resourceful man finds a surprisingly simple way to catch a wild snake using nothing more than a water bottle.
This is, you can touch the body, soft and slowly. Beware. Very good. Yeah, very good long catching. Yeah.
Back in the wilderness, a group of people watches carefully as a wild bear wanders much closer than anyone anticipated. In a heartwarming scene, a woman spends time bonding with an unusually friendly cheetah that seems to enjoy every moment of the attention. Then comes a tense struggle inside a pet shop when an escaped snake refuses to cooperate as its owner attempts to return to its enclosure. Back on safari, a brave little elephant tries its hardest to scare away photographers despite being only a fraction of their size. In a crowded marketplace, chaos erupts when an angry camel suddenly lashes out, sending shopkeepers scrambling in every direction. Up in Mammoth, the massive bull elk turns parked vehicles into punching bags as it aggressively defends its territory from imagined rivals. Meanwhile, another bear displays surprisingly burglar-like skills when it quietly opens a garage door and it begins exploring inside. But the tension rises once again after a leopard is discovered wandering through a school building, turning ordinary hallways into a scene from a thriller. Elsewhere, homeowners are left stunned after a wild boar unexpectedly bursts into a house uninvited. In a much stranger interruption, a raccoon somehow makes its way into a packed stadium and briefly steals the spotlight from the game itself. And before anyone can react, a powerful big cat suddenly launches itself at a van in broad daylight, creating a moment nobody inside will forget. Bro! And finally, we'll end with a true giant of the wild as an enormous anaconda slowly slithers across a dusty road, reminding everyone just how incredible nature can be. I found clips of animals saving humans' lives. Click the video on the screen to watch.